Welcome in to Stadium Pulse on a Friday in the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. So many games. We got to start with a lot of things to get off the chest. Because the state of college football, there's a lot of things rearing its ugly head, okay, already. And we know that this is not new. There's going to be stuff as this kind of landscape all changes. We're going to get into that. We'll be checking the pulse down in the Swamp, big one in Gainesville tomorrow. I will be there. Knights taking on the Gators. That's going to be a fun one. Good luck predicting it. I'm going to try, but good luck predicting it. I'll give you my final thoughts on the Georgia Bama game and what I would have in a rematch if they played tomorrow. And also, they're hosting Auburn this week. FSU it's going to be bad in Tallahassee. We'll get to that and a whole lot more. I hope everybody's doing well on a Friday also. Nick, how we doing in the booth?
We're doing pretty good back here.
All right.
Can't complain.
Nick hustled over here, just finished the 8 o'clock show. We appreciate him today. Let's start with Xavier Townsend. Xavier Townsend is a starting football player, a starting receiver at the University of Central Florida. And I didn't want to start the show with this, but I couldn't get away from it. A starting receiver at the University of Central Florida. Nick, it's his third year there, and he's the number 2 option at the wideout position. Okay? This is not a freshman. This is not a guy who's just now seeing the field for the first time. This is a guy who had, I'm pulling up his stats, who had 23 receptions in his freshman year, 33 receptions in his sophomore year, and 10 receptions so far this season. This is his junior year. And he's decided in the last, I believe, 24 hours, that he's going to take his red shirt, since it hadn't been more than 4 games, and he's going to sit out the rest of the season. I'm done. And I'm a transfer at the end of the season. You quit. Man, this is not a freshman player. This is a guy who is a starter. He is the number 2 option on a team that maybe doesn't throw him the ball as much as he should, but he's getting 5-6 targets a game, and he just decides, I'm going to sit out the rest of the year, and then at the conclusion of this football season, because the transfer window doesn't open until December 9th, I'm going to take my talents elsewhere. This ain't it, guys. It's not. We can't be doing this. You're a starting receiver. A starting receiver. The only guy behind Kobe Hudson, by the way. And I know UCF runs the football 40 times, 50 times a game, but you're a starting receiver. I don't get it. Like, what am I supposed to think, Nick, other than that you just quit on your teammates? This is your 3rd year. This is not you're a freshman who doesn't want to count this season as a year of eligibility. I'm cool with that. That's always been a thing. But now under this new landscape, oh yeah, I can feel things out. I can play a little bit. And if I don't like the way that things are going, and if I don't like how many targets I'm getting, if I don't like how much of a focal point or how little of a focal point I am in this offense, maybe because I'm not earning more targets and I'm not earning a feature in this offense, then I'm going to just pack up and go. Never mind the fact that he's probably getting a decent NIL bag. I mean, he wasn't a ginormous recruit, I don't believe, but I think I'd have to see what he was rated. But he was a stud coming out from Tampa. And this is concerning, man, because look, and he's not the only one. In the last couple hours, or maybe it was last night, I believe, another guy, Breon Threats, safety for UCF, he just got there. Maybe this is the more, I don't know which one is the more concerning one. The guy plays 3 years at Cincinnati, is a starter all of last year, transfers to UCF, assumes, I guess, that he's going to be the starter, plays every game so far this year, but kind of isn't the starter. And he says, oh, yeah, I'm going to use my red shirt. And I know I've only been here for a little bit. And you just spent this time recruiting me to transfer here. But I'm going to pack up and go as well. We're seeing it at UNLV. And that's a different circumstance because that has some kind of sketchy money things and all that stuff with players not believing they got the NIL money that were promised. And that's a whole other deal. But we're seeing it more and more. UCF ain't the only school. But obviously, I mean, Xavier Townsend and Breon Threats are two guys that are legitimate players on your team. This can't be happening. And my question, Nick, is when something like this happens, and for anybody, I would love to see comments in the chat. What does this say more about? What does this say more about? Does it say more about the player, specifically Xavier Townsend? Does it say something more about Gus Malzahn? Or does it just say more about the state of college football, of where we're at in 2024? Because I really don't know what to make of it. And I think I could give an answer and a good reason for all three. But I'm interested to see, I mean, you got, is there one that takes the cake over all the others? It doesn't make sense, man. All right, let me run through them real quick. If you're Xavier Townsend, looks bad on you because you quit on your football team and you quit on your teammates and the guys that you've been with for 2.5, 3 years since you got there. This is the school that recruited you out of high school that's given you opportunity. You caught 33 balls last year, and you're probably going to catch 40 to 45 this year because there's no Javon Baker who ate up all the targets last year. Okay? And here's the other thing. This applies to him. This applies to Breon Threats. Earn it. It's not because they lost the football game last week to Colorado, which maybe that plays 10% of a factor, which I hope it doesn't, because that would be even worse. Oh, I thought we were going to be this good. Oh, we lost early in a game that we shouldn't have lost. I'm out. Peace. I don't think it's that. I think it's all about the targets and how much of a focal point he is in the offense, or how little, I should say. But earn it, man. There's targets to be had. I know we run the football a lot, but you're going to catch 40 balls. In college, that's a lot. That's like 80 balls in the NFL. It really is. Especially as the number 2 guy. Look, it also says a lot about Gus Malzahn. You can't keep your number 2 receiver. This is why I can't stand it, though, because it's like, oh, you can't keep your number 2 receiver happy. You shouldn't have to, man. This isn't we can't be doing the diva Devontae Adams stuff in college football as a 21-year-old when you're getting NIL money for the first time. We can't be doing it. Oh, I got to keep my receiver happy. That shouldn't be even on Gus Malzahn's mind. It shouldn't be on Gus Malzahn's mind that, oh, if I don't get Xavier Townsend 7, 8, 9 targets this game, he's going to pack up and go on me. Oh, if I get a big-time recruit at the receiver position next year out of high school, it doesn't matter if I develop him and spend a lot of time on him in the recruiting and spend a lot of time coaching him. And for 2.5 years, I got to watch out in year 3 that if I don't get him enough targets in the first couple ball games, he's going to pack up and go. I guess it just says where we're at in college football. It's got to be fixed. I don't know how. I wish I knew. You can only do it once, I guess, as a saving grace, because otherwise a guy like Breon Threats, who just transferred to UCF, by the way, I think a dumb decision. Who wants you? A team just went out and got you out of the transfer portal. You play 4 ball games. You say, I'm done. I'm quitting on the season, sitting out, and I'm going back to the portal. Because what does that tell the guy the coach of the transfer, the team that you want to transfer to? It doesn't matter if I go out and spend time with this guy. He's a quitter. And if he doesn't like his situation, he's not going to play for me. He's not going to fight for my school. For the guys that are in the locker room with him. Drives me nuts. 10 minutes on that. We got to move on. I can't wait to see what happens. And if this is a big thing, becomes a bigger thing in college football, I sure hope not. I sure hope not, man. Because this ain't good. Let's recap UCF Colorado real quick. And I think my biggest Nick, did you catch that ball game?
No, I caught bits and pieces just score watching.
Biggest takeaway is Coach Gus Malzahn is the most confusing head football coach in college football. And I guess that's not new.
That dates back to the modern days.
Yeah, I know it does. But he's got to be the most confusing football coach in college football right now. I mean, every year it seems like he'll go beat a big team. Or not a big team. I'm not saying big, but he'll go have a respectable win. He goes on the road and comes back and beats TCU. He did it against last year against Boise State, which, say what you will, it's on the road. And then he'll lose a home game like this. Baylor last year. Colorado this year. Guys, Colorado isn't good. They're not good. And so that sucks to admit, because what am I telling you? I guess UCF ain't good. And I was wrong. Is it too early, and is every team allowed to have a fluke game? Yeah, especially in the Big 12. Because every team's, to some extent, going to beat up on the next guy. Okay? It's going to happen. But that was bad, man. Colorado is so predictable. And everything that you're good at for UCF, they were bad at. And I know that's an extremely simple and elementary way to put it. But UCF, you run the football better than just about anybody, and Colorado can't stop the run. Going into the football game, the Knights run for 300, 400 yards a game, and they go in at home against Colorado and run it for 150 yards. On the flip side, UCF, if your defense is good at one thing, you can stop the run. Colorado can't run it for nothing. All they do is drop back and air raid, and they ran it on you at, I think, at 5 a clip. They didn't run for a bunch of yards because they still threw it a bunch. But it's 2nd and 5. And if you give Shadur 2nd and 5, he's a good football player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He's a great football player. Travis Hunter's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the team isn't good. The defense for Colorado isn't good. And I know it was a 48-21 ball game. It's probably a lot closer than the score because we're turning the ball over at within the 5-yard line in the red area because you can't kick a field goal. And we passed up points about 6 times, it felt like. And we fumbled the football in the red area twice, I think. Golly, guys. Golly. We're going to get to, obviously, the game of the week, at least in my opinion, for where we're at. Knights in Gainesville shortly. But, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I had all the confidence in the world in the Knights going in 7 days ago. Now, we'll see. All right, let's get to Georgia BAMA, Nick. Let me bring you in. On this one. Georgia BAMA. So many thoughts. I could spend an hour on it. I won't. Your immediate takeaways, 41-34. We all know the story. Tale of two halves in a sense. 28-0. To start, BAMA starts about as good as it gets. Georgia makes a late comeback. Actually takes the lead at one point in the football game before Ryan Williams does his thing and makes a circus catch and circus spin and circus move to get away from 2 defenders and score a 75-yard touch just like that. Now, and BAMA wins it. Your thoughts?
It really comes down simply to Carson Beck. If he played a cleaner game, what is the final score? Is it as high, or do they keep BAMA in check and win by what I felt going into the game would have been a 2-score win for Georgia?
Really? Okay.
So I just think at the end of the day that Bama built that 8-0 lead early into the second, and we're just so far out ahead. And I mean, it took till halftime for Kirby to make the adjustments to get squared away again. But it really just comes down to Carson had to play a cleaner game, and he unfortunately didn't for Georgia to win the game. Still played, like you said, a tell of two halves. But again, the theme for the game were his interceptions, and it sealed the game for him when they had a chance to tie it and take it to overtime. I mean, you're going to see a rematch most likely of it at some point this year, either in the playoffs or in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's not the last time we're going to see this matchup, most likely. So I'll be excited to see it the second time around when it happens, if it's neutral or in Athens. And to your point, you said everything that he did on that catch was a circus catch. I'll argue the point it was a Heisman moment, and
Oh, wow.
he is top 5 in Heisman right now. I mean, the guy's electric. He's the leading receiver for Alabama. They just had a massive win. That's a Heisman moment, a catch like that. Think like any other player that's had a Heisman season has a run, has a moment, has a game that sets them kind of apart. You know, it's like you can say in 22 as a homer take here, Hendon won the Heisman against Bama when he beat them 52-49, but then he lost it with Georgia, and then he lost it for sure in the South Carolina game. Every player that wins it has a big moment somewhere along the way that the voters or the national media, somebody looks to say that's kind of win or when they set themselves apart. And the kid is electric. He's just wildly good. And coming away, the other thing is, I thought, Bama under DeBoer is going to be a beatable team. That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Milroe, sure, is probably one of the other Heisman favorites from that team, if not the only other Heisman favorite from that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's him and Williams, and that's it. But Milroe's legit. I doubted Milroe in 22 because he did the 2 games before the Tennessee game that year, and he didn't look good. He didn't look good against Texas last year, but then he figured it out, and he kept getting better and better and better, and now he looks super legit.
Look.
And he's good through the air and on the ground, too.
Yeah. I mean, look. Milroe's the best player on the field. Milroe's the best player on the field. And I'm not saying Ryan Williams is right there.
Yeah.
Sawyer Kimbrough says Ryan Williams is a star. Needed 2 comments for that. I respect it. Yeah, he is. I mean, look. At the end of the day, sometimes you can't out-scheme playmakers.
Yeah.
But look, I would venture as a Georgia fan, there are things. So from what I'm seeing, most Georgia fans are saying that was the worst half ever in the first half. And we're just clowning Bobo, the offensive coordinator, saying we were late to make adjustments. And at the same time, those same fans were saying, but in the second half, this is where you really get so many people saying, tell two halves. In the second half, all Georgia fans are saying, well, that was really encouraging. That was really encouraging to see the offense perform that way, see the defense make adjustments. I'm saying yes, but no on both of those. You didn't execute in the first half. Beck didn't play clean. I'm telling you, the first pick is a touchdown. The first pick he threw, they got 7 guys in the box. He checks to a hot screen. We have it blocked. Go back and watch the play. If you're pissed at Beck for it for some reason. Arian Smith, number 11, he checks at the line. Arian Smith doesn't get the signal. He runs a deep slant instead of a quick, take one step, come back to the football, tunnel screen. He had 2 guards and a tight end for 1 corner and 1 safety, and Arian Smith runs 4-3. It's a touchdown, 75-yard touchdown. If not a minimum, it's a 40-yard explosive. He doesn't pick up the signal. It's a pick. All right. There was probably another touchdown that we missed in that second half, in the first half, excuse me, that we didn't execute because we didn't get it blocked. We didn't get it blocked. Not on Bobo, not on Beck. He saw both of them. He wanted to hit both of them. He didn't get it. Okay. I'm not making excuses for Beck. He didn't play well the first half. He'd be the first one to tell you. Okay. But then I'm also saying this. I'm seeing Bama fans say they got conservative in the second half. No, you didn't, really. No, you didn't. If you want to blame somebody, you want to blame a little DeBoer, you can blame his clock management because they're snapping the football 30 seconds, 20 seconds left every time. But he didn't get conservative. They were up 28-0 running trick plays. And guess what? Go look at their defense in the first half. It's the same that they ran in the second half. Cover 1, cover 0, blitzing and pressuring Beck on every passing down. Okay? They didn't get conservative at all. Maybe 10%. Okay, if you want to take that. And here's the other thing. Georgia fans, you want to be very encouraged by that second half? Just chill out. You had 4 downs every possession. Everything changes offensively when you know you got 4 downs. Right? You can't put that much stock to it. Now, look, I am slightly encouraged because the whole thing going into this football game was, and we saw it in the first half, was, man, does Beck have anybody to throw to on the outside? And I'm not saying he doesn't have studs. He has studs. But against SEC defenders, does he have guys that are going to go up and win? And I think you saw some of that relationship developed in the second half of guys that, because that's the whole story on Georgia offensively, who's going to replace Bowers and McConkey, right? And we haven't seen that so far. Well, I mean, you should be encouraged by some of the things that we saw in the second half with the relationship and how effective Beck was throwing to those guys. But, Nick, you well know, when you got 4 downs, man, and you know 3 of those are drop back and throw it,
yeah,
you're going to have success. You know, you got good players, right? It's not like you're not outmatched. You got good players. You got 3 passing downs every time to go pick up a first down, and you got time. You're gonna throw for a lot of yards. You're gonna score points. So if these 2 teams rematch tomorrow, who are you taking?
If they rematch knowing what they know now, I'm taking Georgia again. Because Kirby's going to come in with a better game plan because he may or may not have had his best game plan starting the game. Coming off a bye, I'm sure he did. But something somewhere threw the game off. Maybe the defense had more pressure on Beck. Throws Beck off a little bit, like you said. He misses like the slip screen. He tries to force it to the other guy, throws the pick, throws the other pick because he's wanting that, but it just gets shut off and he doesn't get it. And it's weird things like that. It's like 9 times out of 10, to quote Hugh Freeze, 9 times out of 10 we're going to win that game. 9 times out of 10 I think Georgia's going to win the game.
9 times out of 10?
Yeah, look, I think Beck is probably the better quarterback than Milroe.
Not right now.
Not right now. Not after the game.
No, I'm not, dude.
Overall, flat
I think
out
you might. Dude, you got to hold on. Now I get it. Milroe at times. I mean,
Milroe is more explosive.
Milroe is the best player on the field, dude, and it might not be that close.
Fair.
I really, dude.
I'm just a bigger believer, even as a Tennessee fan, in Kirby Smart and his defensive philosophy, that he's going to win the game most of the time. The second half is the perfect reason to see why. Regardless of who Kirby has at defensive coordinator, he's going to make the proper adjustments.
Yeah.
That whatever happens in that first half, you better have more than a 28-point lead. You need a 42-point lead. Because he's got enough of an offense, if he's probably got a better OC than Mike Bobo, to come back from being down 42-0, because the defense is going to be that stout.
Right.
It always has been since he's been there, minus 2016. I mean, every defense since that first defense he's had has been better and better, and sometimes the best. Undoubtedly, in all of college football, of 130-some-odd teams, the best in the country. The guy's a genius when it comes to like defense, and I mean, I envy that.
Yeah.
I believe in it. When Kirby needs to make an adjustment, he's going to. And you better hope you made the right adjustment to counter his, but most of the time that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think he did make adjustments at half.
And what did it do? Light a fire under everybody? Because something changed in the second half.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, and I want to be as Georgia homer as possible, and I'm unapologetically a Georgia homer. I think you might as well flip a coin if they play 10 times. That's going to be a 50-50 split. I truly believe it. If it was a home game tomorrow in Athens, I'm taking Georgia. If it was in Tuscaloosa again, I'll take Alabama. And if it's a freaking neutral site game in Atlanta come late December for the SEC championship, literally just ask Siri to flip a coin. Because guys are going to make plays. And it's going to come down to the end. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Last couple takeaways. from this past week before we get to a break, and then we get to our Week 6 predictions for tomorrow. Wow, scary one for Miami. 38-34 over VTech. We all saw the last play. You probably saw the replay of it of 100 times. Is an incomplete pass. That's not my takeaway, obviously. Miami doesn't look good. And, Cam Ward, you gotta shoot, man. Roman says Kirby 1-6 versus Bama. We got a national championship, buddy. I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I'm on Miami. I'm on Miami.
Yeah.
Can't let that distract me. Cam Ward, look, you do a lot of things that look unbelievable a lot of times. That's not going to work against everybody. And I definitely thought it would still work against VTech and their defense. But that's one of my biggest takeaways is the guy, he's got unbelievable talent. And he might be a great NFL quarterback, but at the same time, look, a lot of the dual threats, a lot of the guys that do flashy stuff in college, one of the main questions every time is, all right, yeah, that works against mediocre college defenses, but does it work against the elite college defenses, and will it work against NFL defenses? And for the first time, I think this season, Cam Ward showed you some stuff that, look, bro, that stuff ain't going to play at the next level. And it might, look, that's probably the biggest scare you're going to have for the rest of the season. I would be shocked, to be honest with you, as I look up their schedule. I would be shocked if Miami has a closer game than that. I guarantee you they'll win every single game for the rest of their schedule more handily than they did that one by 4 points. Even at Louisville, October 19th, they'll win that one by probably 10 or 14. They got at Cal, easy. Host Florida State, watch out. Host Duke. At Georgia Tech, okay, maybe. At Syracuse to finish. I'm not sold yet on Cam Ward. I'm sold as him as a top, easily a top 5 quarterback in college football. I'm not sold on him to what everybody was hailing him as in the first couple of weeks as a Heisman candidate, or as a top 3 Heisman candidate and a potential first top 10 pick. He's just loose with the football, seems lackadaisical at times. And I know sometimes that could be his play style. I'm not saying I want the guy to just be 100 miles an hour every time he's got the ball in his hands. And man, does he have an arm. Every week I watch him, I'm more impressed with the throws that he makes. But at the same time, he made some boneheaded decisions against VTech. And I guess you got to give VTech some credit. They took him to the brink in Miami. But I think you got to be a little concerned because, look, the question for Miami is not whether they're going to go undefeated and make the playoff. Like, for some Miami fans, that's enough because we know what they've been the last 10 years. Garbage. Like, they haven't done anything. So for a lot of Miami fans, just them making the playoff is enough. But I think after the way you've started, going into the VTech game after the first 2-3 weeks, you're thinking, okay, we gotta make a run. We're gonna be a top 4 seed most likely as the ACC champion. We gotta make a run. You're not making a run based off what I saw against VTech. You might win one, but what's gonna happen when you play a legitimate defense? If you look like that, and again, every team I feel like should get a mulligan, and I guess everybody, but it seemed more like the way that it seemed less that it was just a bad game and more like this is the way that he plays. Is it going to work or not? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Last game real quick that we'll feature before I mention just a few others. FSU, man. 42-16 at SMU. 1-4, you lose by 26 points. The SMU, not a bad football team. SMU was favored in the game, but you did not. There was not one positive as a Seminole fan. And to be honest with you, I don't know the answer, but I guarantee you there's got to be some changes. And I don't think it's going to be Norvell, but somebody's got to be blamed. Okay? Especially because, I mean, honestly, I can go ahead and do the analysis right now. You're going to get beat by probably 30 points tomorrow against Clemson. Clemson is a good football team. And I know everybody said, holy cow, they suck after Georgia beat them 34-3 in the opener. Yeah, by the way, after scoring 3 points against Georgia, they've scored 66, 59, and 40 against 3 actual football teams. App State, NC State, and Stanford. Not great football teams, but those are actual Division I programs. 66, 59, and 40. Offense is real. What makes you think they won't do the same thing against FSU? And by the way, their defense might be better than their offense. Is there any way, Nick, that FSU, you can see a way where they get to 20 points? Can FSU get to 20 points is my question tomorrow.
They got to put the punter in at quarterback.
Shoot. Golly.
That's the only chance they got because it ain't going to be DJ.
I would love, I mean.
Or the other guy they got. He didn't do
Brock Glenn?
Yeah, he didn't do too hot.
No.
But he had limited action.
I want to know, like, what would have to happen for FSU to get to 20 points? Because I guarantee you Clemson's going to put up at least 30. I'd be shocked. I would legitimately be shocked if FSU keeps this within 14 points. 14 points. And I forget what the spread was on this football game. I think it's around there, to be honest with you. But I'd be shocked. Oklahoma holds on to beat, or comes back to beat Auburn 27-21. Auburn, bad football team. I had Oklahoma big in that game, or it was -2, and I had them took the points, and they looked bad. It wasn't looking too hot for a long time, but Auburn did what Auburn did, and Peyton Thorne did what he did, and Hugh Freeze did what he did, and they blew it because they turned the ball over late in the game and pretty much handed it to Oklahoma. So I'll take that. The other one we got to mention is Kentucky goes into Ole Miss and beats them 2017. I feel like we knew that Ole Miss at some point in the schedule could have a slip up. Didn't expect, and again, Kentucky, y'all wanted to, raise the alarm bells and freak out when they took Georgia to the brink. Their defense is real. They just held Jackson Dart playing on his home field in Lane Kiffin to 17 points. 17 points. And just drowned him in the backfield. With the pressure, it was unreal. Kentucky's a good team. I don't know. And what does that mean? Oh, was that South Carolina? I don't know. I don't know what to make of that game. But you've had 2 games where Kentucky's held Georgia to 13 points and Ole Miss to 17. If you don't believe that their defense is real, I don't know what to tell you. Ole Miss has to bounce back against South Carolina this week because they go to Columbia. And I don't know if Lane Kiffin is what's going on over there, but I have concerns. I'll say that. Hey, we gotta take a break. 9:33. We're with you for another about 25 minutes. We'll break down the best games coming up tomorrow, and it's gonna be an exciting one. Don't forget we got the Zone Blitz tonight. Nick, I don't know if we can pull that up. Zone Blitz tonight, 8 to 12. Best high school games in the area, taking you live, and it's going to be another fun one tonight. 8 to 12 on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Instant Reaction. We'll have Coach Sullivan in with us as always, and we look forward to being able to bring that to you tonight. 4 hours of live coverage. We'll be right back.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville.
It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air.
It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com.
Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com. And they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs.
Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Building off a summer of terrific action at Southern Oaks Stadium, the Jacksonville Armada are looking forward to the future and the return of pro soccer in Northeast Florida. Season ticket reservations for MLS Next Pro are underway, and for just $100, you can lock in some great benefits when it comes to supporting the boys in blue. Those who make a reservation will have first selection options in the new Armada Stadium out east, near Jacksonville's downtown sporting complex, as well as access to supporter VIP events like stadium tours, open training sessions, and future meet and greets with players and coaches. You can make your season ticket reservations at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket. And while you're there, read the very latest on the Armada men's and women's teams in action this summer. Show your commitment to the fleet with an MLS Next Pro season ticket reservation at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access.
Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence.
You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to Stadium Pulse on a Friday. We're breaking down the top week 6. Gosh, week 6 already. Matchups. And we got to start in Gainesville. I've never been to the Swamp. And I'm looking forward to it. And I've never been to a game in the Swamp. I have been in the stadium. But Have you ever been, Nick?
Yeah, I went last year for the Tennessee game. Actually, a super cool experience. Even as a Tennessee fan, I sat Gators home side. There wasn't Tennessee orange around me for rows and rows, so I was, sitting duck. But everybody was pretty cool. The game was fun. The flyover was cool. The end of fourth quarter break where they play Tom Petty is actually super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, super, super cool place. It's only the third SEC stadium I've been to. I haven't been to Georgia's for a game. I've been there in 2017 on a trip for a state tournament.
Right.
But no, yeah, the Swamp's actually really, really neat.
Yeah. I'm excited. Look, and here's my message, man, because look, there's a lot of UCF fans who are discouraged by last week, and I'm not telling you shouldn't be. But I know a lot of guys who were unbelievably excited for this 2-week stretch. And for years, legitimately for years, have been looking forward to when UCF goes to play in Gainesville, as how much that game could allow us to prove, who's the best team in Florida. It's always a yearly battle that UCF has been trying to win for a long time. And this game, we've been excited for this game for years. Don't let a loss to Colorado dispel that, shrink that, discourage you going into this game. This game is still way bigger than Colorado. I don't care if it's not in the Big 12. Y'all know we're competing for the same players out of high school. There's a legitimate rivalry there. If you don't believe it, I don't know what to tell you, because it's real. It's a lot more real between UCF and UF than it is between UCF and FSU. Look, it's a huge one. And I hope UCF fans will get excited and renew that, because it's been there the whole time. Don't let one Malzahn, I don't even know what to call last week, and I already talked about it for 10 minutes. Don't let it discourage you from tomorrow. It's a huge one, man. It's a huge one. And look, keys to victory for UCF. KJ's got to be able to throw the football better than he did last week. And you got to have a number 2 guy step up, obviously, in the passing game, because, as we've mentioned, Xavier Townsend ain't playing. So you got to have Trent Whittemore step up. You got to have a guy like Randy Pittman step up. It can't be just Kobe Hudson. If it's just Kobe Hudson, you'll be in for a long day, and I think Kobe Hudson is an unbelievable football player. Also, you got to get back to running the football. Obvious. You didn't do it against Colorado, a poor defense, and now you're facing an SEC defense, and I know that's been a big talking point nationally this week. Florida's defense is not an SEC defense, and I'm not saying that to try and slight them. I think UF fans would agree with me. It's not a typical when people say SEC defense, Florida's defense this year ain't that. It's not. It's not big and physical and run stuffing and anything like that. You got to be able to run it for over 200 yards against them tomorrow. And like I said 7 days ago, I had all the confidence in the world that UCF would go in there and win the football game. And I am slightly, and I'm not, when I say don't get discouraged, I'm saying don't lose your passion or your want and your will to win this football game because of Colorado. I am discouraged from what I saw on the football field that will win. I hope that makes sense. Because I really don't know. Because look, Florida can throw the football. We know that. They can't play defense. At times, for whatever reason, even though they have Montrell Johnson, they can't run it. But you give Mertz time, he's a good quarterback. And UCF has not proven that they can get to the quarterback, so that's the third key, is show some life. UCF front four. You got to get to Mertz when he's in. Got to contain Lagway when he's in. And to be honest with you, I'd be shocked if Mertz doesn't play 75% of the snaps tomorrow. I told you after the who was it? Georgia Southern. Was it Georgia Southern when Lagway played, when Mertz was out with the concussion and they rolled him like 45-14 or something like that?
I don't know, like Charleston, I think.
I don't know who it was. Week 2, Mertz out, concussion. Lagway plays the whole game and lights him up. And I told you after that week, and no matter what it was, Mertz has to be the starter. He has to play the majority of the snaps. It didn't happen the week after that, and you lost a football game. It happened last week, and you won. Mertz ought to play 75% of the snaps. Put Lagway in for specific stuff in the red area. Maybe give him one drive in totality. But Mertz is your starting quarterback. Scheme it that way. That's what you got. If I'm Napier, that's what I'm doing. We got to move on. We don't have too much time. Actually, let me give a prediction. Nick, you got one for that football game? I believe the spread. Gosh, I forgot what it was, to be honest with you. UCF minus 2.5.
Wow, only 3.
We're still favored on the road. What do you got?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. It's two puzzling teams.
I don't know.
Ultimately, it comes down, I think, to who has the better quarterback. And KJ's not played very good at times this year. He's coming off a bad game. Yeah. I think he came off a bad game at first game of the year and kind of rebounded.
Yeah.
So maybe he rebounds this week. UCF and KJ kind of click, get something. If Florida can't get pressure and they can keep KJ upright, and yeah, I'll take UCF by 3.
I think it's going to be a 1-point football game. Whoever has the football last. And look, like I said, my confidence has been drained because you should have been able to run the football last week and you couldn't. But I do think the UCF will be able to run it. And I don't think a whole lot of defense is going to be played in this one. I really don't. I think it's going to be something like a 31-30 UCF win. Maybe maybe more than that. Maybe like a 34-33, something like that. But you got to get it done. Malzahn, you got to bounce back. You got to bounce back. And Napier, I mean, both head coaches feel like they got to win this football game to keep their jobs, to be honest with you. Because if Napier wins this one and he squeaks one more SEC win that he shouldn't, and he loses all the games other than that he should, you could argue, and UF fans aren't going to want to hear that, but you could argue that he should keep his job. Let's see, where else we got to go? Tennessee at Arkansas. You were telling me you think it's a trap game. I'm telling you, calm down. Taylor Green's a good quarterback for Arkansas, but you're coming off a bye. I know it's a road game, but you got to like Tennessee here. I believe they're 2 touchdown favorites.
Let me look. I think it's a 13.5, so yeah. But I'm not exactly sure. But no, it smells like a trap game to me, honestly. I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but it just does. Off a bye, we've had fits with Arkansas in the past. Sure, we're humming on all 3 phases of the game right now, but it's Tennessee. They'll drop one somewhere for some random reason if they shouldn't. At least that's the BVS speaking, the battered ball syndrome. 13.5 point favorite on the road.
There it is again.
Arkansas.
Lowest
ESPN's
Tennessee fan there is.
FPI is predicting an 82% win.
You're gonna win
percentage.
the football game.
I'm trying to look at the stats. So let's see, where's this guy? It's Taylor Green. He's 5 for 5. So that's the thing. If we can contain the run game, I don't think he's enough of a passer to beat us. That's probably the key to winning the game. Is contain him in the pocket, contain the other running back, and not. I think per ESPN right now, I can double back and look. Number 1 rush defense in the country. If they keep playing the way they've played, shouldn't be an issue with containing the run game. It just depends on what Pittman, what's his face? It's the OC.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. He's the old coach guy. Whatever they scheme up, if they can scheme up
Pittman.
something right. Not Pittman, his OC. It used to be the Arkansas coach.
I'm blanking on his name.
I am too. But if those 2 guys can scheme something, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I think. Not like losing trouble, but a more significant chance of losing.
I think Tennessee's going to win this game by at least 24 points, to be honest with you.
I've been low on them all year. I thought it was going to be less than 10 against OU. It was a 10-point game. I've been low on them, but it's the BVS speaking.
Man, this gets me every time.
The BVS, man, it's real.
They're going to win the football game by at least 3 scores, maybe more. We got to do 6 games in 6 minutes, or in 4 minutes. Missouri at A&M. We got a lot to learn about Missouri. They look like an underperforming team, like we've told you, a team that everybody thought would be in the college football playoff this year out of that top 12. They got to go on the road and play A&M, and A&M is not very good, although they're ranked at 25. But since they made that quarterback change, they have looked better. Marcel Reed looks like he knows how to take care of the football, is a threat with his legs, whereas Weigman, sure, as you know what, was not. He turned the football over and wasn't a threat to his legs, kind of a statue in the pocket. But Missouri's got to win this game on the road at Kyle Field to have it to restore hopes in their own fan base that they're legit. And Drink, their head coach, has got to restore faith that he's still the guy there. If you lose this game, it is not going to be good in Columbia, Missouri. Auburn at Georgia. Good luck. I think this is going to be a bad one for Auburn. I think I really think there's going to be a lot of blowouts in the SEC this week. Auburn turns the football way too much. If you turn the ball over against Georgia, you're in bad shape. And I think the problem is Peyton Thorne. I also think the problem is Hugh Freeze. I think it's a 50-50 split. I don't think Peyton Thorpe's any good, or Thorne is any good. And Hugh Freeze, it seems like he can't avoid the turnover from his quarterback. And I think there's a decent chance that he's lost that locker room. I mean, we talk about lost the locker room. We talked about it for hours in Jacksonville here with Doug Peterson. And I don't think Doug's lost it, but Hugh might. It's a lot easier to lose a college locker room than it is an NFL locker room. I'll tell you that right now. And after his comments after the Arkansas game, 9 out of 10, as you mentioned, all this stuff, and kind of throwing his quarterback under the bus, and then they have a lead against Oklahoma last week, and they blow it. You're not going into Athens and beating Georgia. That one could get ugly as well. I'll take Georgia by 24 in that football game as well. Ole Miss at South Carolina. You got to rebound if you're Ole Miss, and I think this is going to be a little bit tougher than maybe people will imagine. But you're coming off the Kentucky L, you got to go into South Carolina, and you got to put on a substantial, a distancing win in South Carolina. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. You got to make Lenore Sellers, Mr. Goggles, turn the football over, and if he does, you're in good shape. If he doesn't, that could be down to the last possession as well. It's going to come down to whether Ole Miss can force turnovers. Because look, as I've been telling you, USC, South Carolina, their front seven is real. And Dylan Stewart, that freshman, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, unbelievable football player off the edge. Bama at Vandy, look, I would love to see Vandy do something here. It's not going to happen, but it's going to be closer than a lot of years past. I'll say that. Bama still is going to roll that one by 3 scores. Who else do we have? We got to Tennessee at Arkansas. Miami at Cal. I don't know enough about Cal, although they beat FSU. But Miami needs to bounce back that one and restore confidence. Cam Ward, if he wants any chance of the Heisman, you got to restore confidence playing on the road and put on a show there. And, again, I guess we'll end with Clemson at Florida State. Watch out. And there could be rumblings because I think this is going to be a 30-point football game. It's going to be 41-10, 38-13, somewhere in that area. And you got to be looking for real answers in Tallahassee because that's going to be ugly. Nick, anything to wrap us up before we get out of here? All right, man. Look, another week in the books. Again, as always, I'll tell you, enjoy College Football Saturday, man. They're few and far between. And although this redshirting stuff and after 4 games has really gotten to me today, look, college football is still superior. I'll die on that hill. We appreciate you for watching. As always, I'm Jason Hamby. That's Nick in the daytime, Mr. T. And we'll see you next Friday on Stadium Pulse. Have a good one, everybody.
New to town or always been in town, everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top.
Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
People helping people is at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jax 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jax and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.org.